Hello everyone and welcome back to another FPL video. FPL Carnage here. In today's video we're going to take a look at my Game Week 22 team selection. We're also going to talk about how my team fared on my wildcard in Game Week 21. In my Game Week 22 selection we're going to look at my free transfer, some of the transfers that I am looking at ahead of Game Week 22, and also possibility of rolling my transfers going into the game week. Hello again. So before we talk about my Game Week 21 team, if you are enjoying this video, please leave a like, subscribe. The aim is 200 likes and 500 subscribers. So let's take a look at how my team fared in Game Week 21. My wildcard was activated in Game Week 21 where I scored a total of 61 points. Fairly pleased with that, seeing as it has helped me set up my team in a way that I'm quite pleased with going into consequent game weeks. I brought in Sanchez in goal, who was hosting, or rather who was away at Fulham. I knew it was going to be a really dicey game, as is the Fulham Chelsea game. That's how the game always is. It's always an end-to-end game, especially when it's at Craven Cottage. I didn't honestly see Chelsea coming away from this game with a clean sheet. But Sanchez returned 2 points as my starting keeper. Moving on to my midfield, I maintained my double Arsenal defense by bringing in Timber and Gabriel ahead of the clash against Liverpool. They both returned clean sheet points, 6 points each. I think Gabriel was knocked off bonus points towards the ending of the game. Unfortunately, he could have returned 7 points, but still fairly pleased with owning both of them. They were also really lucky to not have had their clean sheet cancelled in that game from the Bradley's shots that came off the crossbar. But yeah, all in all, double Arsenal defense still seems like a really good way to go in my opinion. And then my third defender was Tarkowski, who returned 4 points. He saw his clean sheet get cancelled in the game against Wolves towards the dying end minutes of the game, but he managed to pick up DEFCON and almost matched Keane's returns, who picked up a goal in that game, but unfortunately also got a red card. Moving on to my midfield, I had Bruno Guimaraes, who was also my vice captain, returning 11 points. He picked up a goal and an assist in that game against Leeds to help them to a 4-3 win at home. Cunha, my second midfielder, 2 points from him in the game against Burnley. Honestly, he hasn't performed or lived up to expectations since I brought him in. He was in my team prior to my wildcard, and I just decided to keep him for the game against Burnley. If I had known Bruno was going to be available or start that game, I honestly would have just brought in Bruno, because I still do plan on bringing in Bruno very soon, probably in game week 23 or 24. May hold off until 24, just because I don't want to be bringing him when they face Arsenal. So Cunha returned 2 points. Cherki came off the bench against Brighton, could have easily gotten 2 assists and a goal. His chances that he created weren't converted from Haaland and Doku, and then he missed a really good opportunity to get a goal himself, so return just 1 point. Rice returning 3 points against Liverpool. No DEFCON returns for him or any attacking returns, so just the 3 points. Up in my attack, Erling Haaland returning just the goal and 12 points as my captain. Honestly, that's 1 goal in his last 5 games, I think, in all competitions, and that's really underwhelming as a consistent Haaland captainer. I think if we don't see returns from him, we may begin to look elsewhere for captains in game weeks to come. So my second attacker was Thiago, who returned another double figure haul in that game against Sunderland, returning 12 points. That's back-to-back double figure hauls from him. I think he picked up a brace and 3 bonus points in that game, so really pleased to have kept him and not gone with Ekitike like the popular transfer picks was. And then Bowen was my third attacker, who returned 2 points. Also got really decent couple of chances in that game that he could have converted against Forest, but unfortunately he returned just the 2 points. Also didn't pick up DEFCON points. And then on my bench I had Dubravka, who returned 3 points in that game against Manchester United. I think he got save points. And then I had Wilson, who got a goal and a couple of bonus points in the game against Chelsea. He could have easily had a brace, but had one of his goals get chopped off for an offside, and then Mukiele returned 3 points. Honestly, I'm really happy to have Mukiele, one of the defenders that has really, really been on good form so far for Sunderland this season. Even when they concede 3 goals, he still ends up getting DEFCON points and returning 3 points. So, and my last defender is Goodmanson, who returned 0 points in that game against Newcastle after conceding 4 goals in that game. So 61 points, up to 2.2 overall world ranking. Not ideally where I would like to be at this point in the season, but hopefully new round of chips, double game weeks, blank game weeks to come, we can turn things around. So let's take a look at what my game week 22 team selection is looking like. And in goal, I'm going with Sanchez again at home to Brentford. Hopefully we don't see such a defensive blunder like he made in the Carabao Cup semi-finals game against Arsenal, where he gifted Gyökeres that goal. And I hope that doesn't make their new head coach lose confidence in him and decide to try out Jorgensen, because Chelsea have a really good fixture run from 24, and this is one of the reasons why I brought Sanchez in on my wild card. So he's going to be starting in goal for me at home to Brentford. In my defense, I am still doubled up on the Arsenal defense away at Nottingham Forest. They beat Nottingham Forest in their first encounter this season, and I think they kept a clean sheet in that game as well. So hoping for a similar result going into this game week, with the potential of some attacking returns from set pieces for Gabriel, or potential assist, or even a goal for Timber in that game as well. Mukiele is my third defender at home to Crystal Palace. Sunderland are still yet to lose at home so far in the Premier League season, so I'm banking on that form to continue with a potential clean sheet. I do still back Mukiele to pick up some DEFCON points. Crystal Palace haven't won a game in their last 5, so I think this should be a reasonably straightforward game for Sunderland. Hopefully Mukiele can get clean sheet, DEFCON points, or possible attacking return in that game as well. Onto my midfield, I'm going with Bruno Guimaraes away at Wolves. He has returned in his last 2 games so far for Newcastle, and I am backing him to continue his run of form against Wolves. Yes, Wolves have seemingly begun to pick form. They won their game against Wolves, they drew against Manchester United, and they drew their last game against Everton as well, picking up 5 points in the last 3. But Newcastle will look to try to get a victory in this game to keep their hopes of European competitions alive ahead of next season. So I think Bruno Guimaraes continues to start in my team. Also, we've seen that he is the third option for penalty taking when Gordon and Woutemaat aren't on the field. So I'm really confident starting him ahead of this fixture. Wilson is my second midfielder away at Leeds. We've seen Wilson is one of the highest scoring midfielders currently in the game. I think he's ranked in the top 5 or in the top 7 currently for highest scoring midfielders. One of the only midfielders that has clocked 100 points so far in the game, and he returned 9 points in his last fixture against Chelsea. So it's not going to be an easy game for Fulham. He also picked up a goal in their FA Cup tie over the week. I do believe he can continue this run of form for Fulham. I do believe he would. It's going to be an end-to-end game against Leeds, and I think it's this kind of fixtures that Wilson can, possibly even get a double-figure haul from. So he's going to be my second midfielder. Cherki, my third midfielder away at Manchester United. This one is one I am keeping a close eye on. He didn't play the first leg when Manchester City beat Man U 3-0 at home, but he did get rested in the game against Newcastle over the weekend, and I think he should get the nod in the lineup ahead of this game. He has created the most chances for City in the last 7-8 games, and City just looks a better team when he's on the field. So I think Guardiola will start him, and he has the potential to get some attacking returns in this game. My fourth midfielder is Declan Rice away at Nottingham Forest. We have seen how important he is in the Arsenal side. He's nailed on minutes, he takes a share of set pieces, and he's always has that possibility of returning DEFCON. So I like him as a budget value pick and a way into the Arsenal attack at the moment. Up top, I have Haaland, Thiago, and Bowen. Bowen is my first attacker away at Tottenham. Tottenham haven't had the best record at home so far this season. West Ham in relegation battle, and it's just a must-win game for them. So I think it's a game. It's going to be another end-to-end game where we see a lot of goals, and hopefully Bowen can pick up some of those attacking returns in that game against Tottenham. Chelsea is who Thiago is going to be facing in game week 22. He has returned double-figure hauls in his last 2 game weeks. Chelsea have looked all over the place defensively, so I don't think it's a game they keep a clean sheet. Hopefully Thiago picks up a goal involvement in this game against Chelsea. We saw in their earlier fixture where it ended in a 2-2 draw, where the long throws helped Brentford get the lead in that fixture, but Chelsea were able to stage a comeback, and then Brentford equalized late on through a similar long throw. So I think they may go for a similar pattern here. I don't see Chelsea keeping a clean sheet in this game, if I'm being honest. It's yet to be seen if the goals are going to come from Thiago, but he's been in really good form so far this season, and hopefully he can get the goal involvements coming, keep them coming in this game against Chelsea. Haaland is my third striker away at Manchester United. They're the third team he has the most goal involvements in since coming to the Premier League. I think this is a game he would look to get back to goal scoring ways. He's being chased down by Thiago, who has 15 goals so far in the Premier League. So I think he would look to get back to goal scoring ways in this game. It's a Manchester derby. A lot on the line in this game, but he always seems motivated in this kind of big games. Hopefully he gets back on the goal sheet, and he is my captain going into game week 22. On my bench I have Dubravka, who is away at Liverpool, Cunha at home to Manchester City, Tarkowski away at Aston Villa, and Goodmanson at home against Fulham. Now, honestly, I don't feel really comfortable not having a Liverpool attacker, person being Ekitike, but I have 1.4 million in my bank, and I could easily do Thiago to Ekitike, or rather I could do Bowen to Ekitike, right? But I just don't see the reason or value in doing Bowen to Ekitike for a 1 week punt. And Burnley might not be the easy pushover that people think that fixture would be, right? And if you look at the fixture comparison of Bowen and Ekitike, Bowen still has better fixtures coming, and he is nailed on minutes as well for the West Ham side. So I just don't see the logic in taking Bowen out. It's a similar situation to when it was the whole Thiago to Ekitike transfer. This thing, I don't see why I should take Bowen out. If I'm going to take Bowen out, I'd rather go for Calvert-Lewin, who's hosting Fulham, and he has been in really good form. So I don't really know that I want to go from Bowen to Ekitike for just a 1 week punt, right? And then in my midfield, I have the likes of Morgan Rogers, who I would like to bring in, but that would also be a 1 week punt for maybe someone like Cunha. So if I do take out Cunha, I could bring in Morgan Rogers, right, for the game against Everton. Everton have lost Keane to a suspension after picking up a red card in that game against Wolves. So, and Villa at home, they have been really, really good at home this season. It's a game where they could either score a lot of goals, or Rogers could possibly continue to underperform his XGI. So I don't know. These are mainly 2 transfer targets I have in mind for game week 22, but I think I see myself easily rolling my transfers for this game week. So my captain is going to remain on Haaland, my vice is on Bruno Guimaraes, and this is what my squad looks like going into game week 22. If you have any opinions or questions, please leave them in the comment section. I'll get back to them as soon as I can, and as always, I will see you guys in the next FPL video.